Hey, welcome back, everybody. Time for another edition of Health Talks. Dr. Trinh. The one show, the only show that shows you the path to a healthier life. One conversation at a time. And today, well, we have a very prestigious, innovative group talking about something that's been needed in the cannabis industry for a long time. We're going to talk about the Physicians Cannabanoid Council. I hope I said that correctly. With the founders and some people behind it here. Welcome, Elaine Blanchette.
Thank you, Robert.
Rob. I'll be Rob Paul. Today. I can be Rob. I can be Joe. I can be anybody here.
Well, thank you, my friend.
So, you guys.
And we have also Agnes St. Clair with us, which is our third partner. So the Physicians Cannabanoid Council is held by Dr. Trinh, myself, and Agnes St. Clair, who's joining me this morning. Good morning, Agnes.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
So
it's really my honor to, get on this show, try to introduce myself to this, exciting business opportunity. And then hopefully by having this joint venture, and we can really provide all the services for the needed brands. This is going to be a good news for all the consumers together with the brand.
Yeah. So tell everybody why such a need. Why is there such a thing? Why does the cannabinoid industry, that's kind of like the Wild West, they're doing lots of things, but I don't know always with the greatest oversight or verification. Why do they need a Physicians Cannabanoid Council?
Well, we need that because the industry, and I'm going to talk about the hemp industry this morning. The hemp industry has exploded in a sense that once the Farm Bill allowed and declassified hemp as in the Schedule 1, and then it became legal to cross states, legal to make products out of hemp. We saw an explosion of CBD products on the market, and we also had more CBN and CBG products, which are other cannabinoid. That's why we changed the name from Physicians CBD Council to Physicians Cannabanoid Council.
Okay, all right.
And because it includes more than just CBD. And for those who joined for the first time and don't know what I'm talking about, but CBD is one of the 100 compound that you would find into a hemp plant. And CBD, CBG, CBN are all different compounds. Hemp does not have THC or such little THC that it's almost undetectable.
And THC being the thing that gets you high.
That's THC that gets you high. So there's no high effect. So that's why CBD became also very popular very quickly. There's no high. And then there was some benefits that came from it, right? It's a natural fight against inflammation. So therefore, it became very quickly adopted to do creams, to do tincture under the tongue, to do gel capsules, to do all kinds of things.
And I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of how quickly that happened. So my wife's pretty conservative when it comes to lots of things. She's not a conservative, but when it comes to health and some of things, she'd probably I'm going to go talk to my doctor, and I don't know if I'm going to try all sorts of crazy things. And yet, I remember this was a couple of years ago. This is under the last administration when I think kind of quietly this got stuck into the Farm Bill, and it was very revolutionary that it really made hemp legal again here, and people are growing hemp like crazy for fiber, for CBD, for all sorts of other things. Hemp had been used for hundreds of years. George Washington grew hemp. All these people grew hemp, but it got thrown on the bus because it was associated with marijuana. It was a similar plant, and so as when reefer madness hit, everybody banned everything, including poor old hemp. So poor old hemp makes its way back in, and somebody came to my studio and said, "You know what? I'm a big time athlete, and I'm always getting aches and pains and inflammation. I'm using some this is something brand new. It was a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. CBD.
Yeah.
And I said, doesn't that come from like, a marijuana plant? No, it comes from hemp. Well, aren't you worried about all? Oh, no, it has nothing to do with, all this stuff. And I went home to my wife and I said, how quickly things have changed. Somebody came in talking about CBD and she said, yeah, I got some in the cabinet. I said, you got some in my house already here? I didn't even know this. That's
Actually,
how quickly.
hemp is actually part of the cannabis family. So when you talk about hemp, it's just, it's very easy to get people confused that, it's related to cannabis, but it is
Right.
really part of the cannabis family.
Right.
And it's just interesting enough that, hemp and cannabis is totally different class of this,
It's treated differently. Yeah.
federal. When it comes to the federal government, one is totally restricted, the other one is like, totally legal.
Right.
So, because, it's just because hemp, in order to make it legal, you have to make sure hemp doesn't have enough THC to get you high.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's less than 0.3%.
Yeah, it has to be less than 0.0.
So I'll tell you the other
0.03.
breakthrough to me, this is just anecdotal evidence. So all of a sudden my wife's got somebody comes in and talks about it, and that evening I go home and tell my wife, she's like, yeah, I already bought some CBD. It's at CVS. It's at all sorts of places.
Exactly.
So now we go into, Elaine used to do a show with us for a long time in her previous position and with another company that was more, they did CBD, but they also were associated with companies that had medical marijuana and clinics and other sorts of things. And so we were looking, this was, again, a couple of years ago before the pandemic, and we had been approached by Staples, the office store, was experimenting with some in-house event centers, and they asked us to put together some events for them. And I gave them a list of all these serious business topics, and they said, what else you got? I said, well, we do a show on, CBD, but you're Staples. I don't think you want to talk about that. That's the one they went for. Absolutely. Let's talk about. We're in the middle of Staples.
In the middle of the store. In the middle of the
conservative
store.
business.
Many podcasts from there.
Doing live streaming about CBD. That's when I said, all bets are off. This industry is wide open. My wife's got some at home, and Staples is talking about
welcomes it. So to answer your question, or earlier question, I wanted to, just like your wife showed up with it, when I remember Dr. Trinh going to senior facilities, even right after the pandemic lifted, and a year ago or 2 years ago, when he would go to senior facilities or community centers to give talks, we would ask people in the room, how many of you use CBD products? And at the beginning, a couple of years back, you had maybe 20 hands out of 100
sheepishly
people.
Looking around. Yeah, I do.
And then you, like a couple of years later, you go, and now pretty much 100% of the people say, yes, me. But when and doctors are faced with that too. Doctors are faced with people showing up and say, doc, I take that now, and it really helps me for my pain. It helps me to sleep, or things like that. What do you think? Well, regardless of what they think, they don't know what's in this tube, what it is in this bottle. Exactly. And when we start analyzing the products, you have, unfortunately, because a lot of people want to get into the trend and want to be part of the revolution of the industry, you end up having a lot of products that are either fake, that have the wrong dosage written on it. It says that it has 1,000 milligrams, it has 500, or it has 1,500, but it's not accurate. You have products that have heavy metals in it. Yes. You have products, and yet they all have a very pretty label.
Yes.
They all have, like, the person who sells it to you seems to be very knowledgeable and tells you all of the benefits that you could get from it. And they all have a COA, which is a certificate of analysis, that come with it. The problem is also that there are tempered certificate of analysis on the market. So from quick analysis that were done at labs, I mean, you have at least 30%, 25 to 30% of the products that fail.
Wow.
And yet they're on the market, right? So they could be at the farmer's market, they could be in a store, they could be anywhere, right? So we decided to step in because too many people are using it without knowing. We did a big survey. The survey revealed that people don't know how to read a COA. It is a complex thing to read. It's a lab report, and you're
not going to do that standing in line at Mother's Market here, and I'm going to go, well, we're going to show me your COA, show me your certificate of authenticity here.
And just like you can buy fake urine tests, you can buy fake COA. You can.
I think the basic problem is this. You know, most of the CBD product is not really regulated.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that's the key.
All the contents, they never really been verified by anyone. So, you know, and then on top of it, the COA, what they did is that they just put a QR code on the box. And then so when you look at this label, everything sounds perfect. And then you just scan code this QR code with a lot of numbers and small print.
Yes.
How many people are actually going to go through every single detail to read?
Zero.
Like, you know, what is the percentage of each of the category? And then, so, you know, and then the most important part, they might just hide the most important thing, like, you know, pesticide. If there's any pesticide, they hid it. Because you know what, under this Farm Bill, they only need to specify how many THC percentage in that COA.
Oh, that's all they're looking for.
As long as there is no THC or less than, you know, 0.3%, then they are legal to sell it. So that's why it's very important for these, you know, physicians, Cannabanoid Council to come in and to do, like, you know, further verification on the label. Mm-hmm. And on top of it, you know what? These days, it's really not about, you know, the pesticide issue. It's not really about any chemicals they put in. These days, a lot of companies, they actually don't even bother putting the CBD.
That's right.
Why bother?
That's right.
I'll put a label on the thing. People will buy it. Well, who knows if there's anything in it?
Yeah.
They just say it's a CBD product. But you know what? Nobody can verify how many percentage of the CBD.
So I'm going to say this reminds me all too much of what happened with what they used to call nutraceuticals.
Yeah, the supplement industry.
The whole nutraceuticals industry, which has a huge natural products expo in Anaheim every year. This is always where they gather. We went and covered that a couple of times a number of years ago, and really were shocked when I wasn't trying to do an investigative piece, but it really shocked me as we looked into this, how many, because it's not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, they don't have to go through the same sort of stringent tests. And so everything from toothpaste to cereal to teas, everything suddenly now had an herb. Suddenly everything had some sort of plant ingredient that's going to help you with vitamin A or vitamin C or better memory or ginkgo or something here. And they were adding all these plant-based things. And when they really tested it, it turned out a lot of them had none of it, or so little it was a joke, or the opposite, way too much of it, or what you guys are getting at, other things I didn't expect were going to be in there. So let's break those three down. You're talking a little bit about the ones, I don't know if we want to call it a fake, but they kind of know there isn't much of anything in this, but they slap a label on it, hoping people will buy it because we now have this ingredient. Is that prevalent? Is there a lot of that kind of almost
let me tell you something. When we ask people where do they buy their CBD, you had by heart, I don't remember, but about 30% of the people say they buy it on Amazon. Amazon does not allow CBD products.
Wow. So say that again. So if I go to Amazon.
So Amazon does not allow CBD products to be sold on their platform. Wow. Yet, in interviews with consumers, when you say, have you used CBD products? Yes. Where did you buy? On Amazon. And why? Because the many companies changed their label to be a hemp oil
Right.
or hemp seed oil, even though they are CBD products. So they temper their labels to be able to be on the market of Amazon.
Wow.
And because of that, you also have many, yes, fake products that copy the brands that have perhaps changed their label, but are, good products, but they change their label, which is a bad practice to begin with. And have copied the brands and are on Amazon as well. So that's my first scare and my first warning.
Wow. There's
Okay.
there's a problem here. 30% are buying it from a platform that says, wait a minute, we don't sell that.
We don't sell that. Yeah,
But
so
you know
that's a
what?
big
I
one.
actually didn't even know that until you just mentioned today. I
Yeah.
thought like, you know what, everybody would just buy directly from Amazon because, it delivers everything and you can still return it after you bought it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I didn't even know. But, it just says that, how many people are really just blindly buying all these
Blindly.
things because, it says it has the CBD.
So then I'm expecting some benefit, and I'm buying it because
Yeah.
I'm looking, and part of this is driven. I'll go down a little rabbit hole for a second here. I'm an aging baby boomer. We've talked about it many times in the show. I don't get to see my doctor very often. I got 2 minutes in this thing, and he's not too well trained. He'll give me a pill or he'll give me a procedure, but if I got chronic pain, it aches, I got inflammation, I don't know what to do. He kind of goes, I don't know what to do. Go home and take an aspirin and relax. There isn't, so I'm looking for alternatives. I'm looking for something to deal with these chronic conditions that Western medicine isn't well set up to handle here. I might even look to Eastern medicine, to acupuncture, acupressure, Indian Ayurvedic, all these things. I'll try anything. I'll try herbs. I'll try CBD. I'm looking for some.
You need to come see me.
Yeah, right.
I'm specialized in taking care of seniors.
Right. So you got an aging group of people that's going to the doctor, not getting a lot of relief or a lot of time or a lot of even information. And so we're out on the market. That's why there is Mother's Market. That's why there's Sprouts. That's why there's all this stuff appearing everywhere. Nutraceuticals, CBD products, all these things that have promised me some relief to help me with my memory, to help me with my sleep, to help me with my chronic pain, my ache, my something here. So there's a real reason this is being driven. And in the middle of that, there are people getting taken advantage of. I'm hearing it's not what you think it is.
People, so that's the first one. The second thing is a lot of people are doing it in their kitchen.
Yeah.
So although some kitchens can be very clean, there's a process to be followed when you are putting products on the market, and it certainly shouldn't be your kitchen, if it's your regular kitchen, but it's not a lab kitchen that nobody can enter except those who are, just like pharmaceutical standards or what we call GMP standard, good manufacturing practice standards.
Because you're putting this in your body. Or on your face or under your tongue. So this is something that should have the same standards as any other food thing you put in that you swallow here, a pill or food. But it's the Wild West. Everybody's slapping a label. You may have it, you may not, or you may have other. So let's talk more about this second thing. We'll call it contamination. What about if I'm not producing this properly? What kinds of bad things are you finding in these otherwise healthy products?
Well, pesticide is one. The plant has one of the quality of the plant, if I may say, which is also sort of a bad effect on the other hand, is that the plant is really absorbing its environment. So if it's in the environment in which the plant is grown, there's a lot of pesticides, or pesticides are used to protect the plant. then you could have a transfer. Well, you often have pesticide in it, and depending on the source of your product, you and sometimes you don't know because you're using a white label manufacturer, or
Right.
they're doing contamination with other products without you knowing. There's pesticides. Sometimes there's also, if you buy very cheap bottles with the dropper, if you buy very cheap ones from different markets in the world and you don't really know what you're buying, you could have lead transfer over time.
Oh my
From
God.
the bottle to the actual product, and that's pretty bad.
So I bought this product, Agnes, to be healthy. And in the process, I'm ingesting something no healthy person would want to put into their body. Pesticides, lead, other thing I've heard, heavy metals and other crazy things
Yes.
in the stuff
Yes.
that I
Mold.
mold, good old fashioned mold.
Possible, yes. Depends on the lab production. Yes.
So
So,
I did this to be healthy, and in effect, I'm putting the worst. If you listed any of this stuff in the bottle, I'd never buy it. Mold, pesticide, heavy metals. I'd run from those kinds of things. You'd expect them to be pulled from the market. You think some government agency's doing this, but there's no government agency.
No.
Thus, we need some independent counsel like you guys do. How do you work? What does this counsel do, and how do you maintain your integrity?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because we thought about it for months before we put what we call the Physicians Quality Trusted seal that we want to launch over the next couple of months. We are in the process of certifying brands. And we will launch this officially in the last quarter of 2022. And so the process we follow is, first of all, brands need to apply, whether they are any brands on the market, even if they have great reputation, all of them have to go through exactly the same process. They apply. We verify if it's a real company. We verify if it's the GMP facility or the good manufacturing practice facility they go to manufacture their product. We also looked at their label. Is the label compliant, or do they do claims that they shouldn't be doing? And we also look at the ingredients, and we test through labs that we have handpicked, labs that are either DEA certified, which is the Drug Enforcement Administration, or FDA certified. And in California, it's a government California audited lab that we're using. So it's a lab that has been going through all of the process to be certified by the Cannabis Bureau of California. And we know that these labs are good and are thorough into their way of doing the analysis, and they have integrity as a business as well. So we use these labs to be able to do the tests of the product. And then once we have the results, we have verified that it's really the information that they provided is real, and that they have passed the test, then they will be able to bear the seal on their packaging. The seal that you see behind me, for those who are looking on YouTube, and for those who don't know, it's a seal that says Physicians Quality Trusted, Physicians Cannabanoid Council Quality Trusted. And consumers will be able to, identify this seal right away and be able to know that it has gone through our thorough process. Think of the Dental Association that puts their crest on their badge on the toothpaste, right?
Exactly,
on the packaging.
right.
So it's going to be the same. We go and we test the final product. We don't test the cannabinoid, because most of the tests that are done on the market are done on the actual compound, the cannabinoid. That's what they send to the lab. So you come and you say, here's the compound, and that's what they test, and then they can add all kinds of things to it. Whether it is an oil that's a little dirty, or it could be a third ingredient or fourth ingredients that's not really good, that they bought that was cheap, and you get that contamination again that happens. So all that to say that we test the packaging, we test the product at its retail ready level. And that's what we test.
So let's break that down a little bit.
One more thing is we do random testing. We buy products on the shelf and test it just to make sure that we don't have someone or a company that would try to just bypass our system.
Here's our sample. It's great, but when we make it, it's totally different. No, that was one of my questions. All right, so let's break this down. I see why the consumers would welcome this. But it seems like first challenge is to get them aware of the problem, and then the need for some independent certification like you guys are offering here. So I wonder though if the industry would embrace this. The good players would, because they want to prove that they're good players. But there's an awful lot of shady, fly-by-night, poorly funded startups that are entering this free-for-all space. Have you had pushback from them? I don't want my product tested.
So we did 2 shows lately, one in Dallas, one in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we expose this to the brands. And
we're coming, whether you want it or not. We're going to start certifying stuff here.
They were really welcoming it. Of course, the good brands, the ones that are clean, that are good, they say, I want to be certified. So please help me rise above the market, right? That's basically what they're saying.
Right.
Now, will it please everybody? No. You will have, those who say, oh, I'm sure that, they...
I think, Helene, what Helene said was correct. When the company who are really confident in their own product and they want to make a difference, they want to make a long-term business plan. This company, they want to make sure that, their products can be set aside or stand out from the rest of the competitions. They would totally want to use our service to get further certification and then to tear their products from the rest of the products on the market and saying that, hey, you know what, our product is just as pure as what it could be. And then it just, stated exactly the same thing as what we labeled for. So, it's just like most of just imagine, Bob, you are you're at the senior age, and you just want to have an easy, breezy decision.
I like the way she kind of lightly worked into that. You're at the senior age. Okay, that's right. I'm at the senior age. I didn't know that. I'm getting old. That's what's
I want to be a little bit more careful because most of us, we do not like to be called the senior, right?
No, that's right. I'm not old.
I remember, I go into the restaurants, I look at the 55 and plus menu.
Not for me.
I was telling them, hey, I can get this menu, but I do not want to show my ID.
That's right. Get that out of my face here. I'm young. I still look like I'm 20 here. I feel like I'm 30.
I know. So, we are about to get to that senior's age. Okay.
All right.
So, but you want to make the decision easy breezy. You do not want to go through everything. I want to do the research. I want to see if this product has good review and all that. So just by looking at the seal, and then you will be able to say, hey, you know what? The physicians is actually endorsing on this product. So you know what? If the doctors can really endorse on this product, I might as well just, buy it.
I have more confidence, particularly. But again, I think a part of it is a public awareness campaign. I don't think the public knows there are these potential problems. It says it on the label.
Exactly.
Somebody must have checked it out. Nobody checked it out. So now they got to understand that there is a problem. Somebody needs to check this. Is it sort of like, maybe this is a strange analogy, but is it sort of like Underwriter's Lab? Underwriter's Lab, if you have a
consumer reports.
There's various independent agencies for different other kinds of products.
Right. A neutral one that remains, that is unbiased, have integrity, does not profit from the sale of the products, because we don't profit from any sales of these products. And
so can I pull back the curtain? This may be an ugly question. We've never talked about this, so I don't really know. And I'm not trying to be difficult here, but many will say, yeah, these guys are just being paid off. the companies must hire them, and if they give them a little extra money, they get the stamp of approval. How do you assure people that you guys are independent and not being taken over compromised by the industry itself here?
Well, the first thing is that the council itself has a reputation, right? We have at least 35, if not 40, very renowned doctors that are all practitioners or nurse practitioners, pharmacologists,
right.
And these people have their own reputation.
Right.
And Dr. Trinh is one of them.
Clearly.
Very high reputation and high integrity. But he's not with us this morning because he's also an extraordinary man who does missions, and he's in Vietnam. Doing.
We're going to talk about that in one of the coming episodes.
Doing surgery and helping the people in need.
Right.
So the integrity of the people that are in the council, and it's what made the seal, valid, trusted seal. Because we are not selling products, we are not paid by the brands to promote their product. So that's a promise we have to the market. We will list the brands on our website to say those have passed our test, and then link it to their website. But we do not profit from that. We also, Agnes is going to talk in a moment, the alliances that she's creating to provide more benefit to the brands. For instance, people that know that a product will be certified by the physicians and has the badge of the physicians trusted, will be able to go on certain marketplace that will identify them so that we can, so the consumers
they can directly market their products to the consumer.
That's right.
I also want to add it to Helene's statement right here. Because, the physician councils is actually consisted by all these 35 to 40 plus physicians. By having these physician designations, not only you have to have the certain education background, you have to pass the very stringent standard by the state government to certify. First of all, you don't have the criminal records, and then you have very, very clean practice ethics behind you. And then, because, I personally got licensed by the state of California. And, it took me years to build that license. I would not really want to just, get
jeopardize that just for
by the brand, and then so to put my license in jeopardy, right? So in order to get the state of California licensed as a professional senior care facility, I have to go through these, DOJ, the fingerprints, criminal background checks, and anything ever got out. And then even if the child support, if I don't pay any of my child support, my license will be jeopardized.
Right. So you don't want somebody complaining, hey, this is a shady group of people. They're not really. They're just taking the money and saying whatever the client wants.
Yeah,
but I'm assuming
and that's why we felt that we could step in. And that's really why we felt we could step in, right? We do not. Some of the doctors that are members of the council. So just so that you understand, the council is owned, because it's a private company. It's owned by Dr. Trinh, myself, and Agnes. The members of the councils are there as ambassadors. They believe in the mission of the council and are there as ambassadors. The committee that reviews the evaluate and review is a very small committee, and we make sure that this committee have no brands. They have no products themselves.
No conflict of interest. No
conflict of interest, because some of the members in the council do have their brands. I'm thinking of Dr. Pega, for instance. So these people would need to even go through the same process to be able to have their brand certified if they wanted to, because it's a direct ownership of a brand that they have, and therefore they would not qualify to be on the committee of selection for an evaluation. Just
So
because
how
of
does it
that.
work if a brand wants to come to you? I'm assuming like they go to any lab, they have to pay for the testing and do
Yeah.
something. I mean, this isn't a charity. You guys aren't doing
No.
this. You're not privately.
No, and it takes a lot of time to evaluate, but
Right.
we're not overcharging either. The certification is going to cost altogether $2,100. So
That's
it's very reasonable considering that the brand would have had to test their product anyways just to put them to market,
Right.
and their certification usually costs about $500. So it's $600 to apply, and that includes that we're going to evaluate all of the paperwork and
Right.
evaluate and make the proper calls to verify the information and all of that. After that, we put it to test and we verify all of the information from the lab. We also, like I said, do random testing from buying products, and we provide a report on the result, a COA, and they will be able to bear the badge on their labels.
And what if
But
they
also
fail?
have to requalify constantly, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a renewal every year, and they will need to requalify.
So I have a product. I'm going to bring it to you guys. I think I'm doing a good job. And you come back and you say, sorry, you failed. There's this problem, this problem, this problem, this problem. I'm assuming then, and they're going to go, well, I paid you $2,100. Just give me the badge. And you're like, sorry, this was an independent
That's
lab.
right.
Right.
They can correct the situation though, and we will be lenient in how much they're going to we charge to retest.
Right.
So the 600 is not obviously reimbursable. If they pass that part, then they go to the second part. And as we speak, I just received a text that there was one that failed the test for because they found one pesticide agent in it. So it happens, but we will then, help the brand correct the situation and not necessarily reapply, but have their products retested.
Let's look at it the other way. We're all assuming that many of these people are scam artists. They're just trying to take advantage of aging population, desperate for help. Give me anything. My doctor's giving me nothing, so I go to these giant chains, even if it's CVS or something. They got walls of herbs and walls of CBD products and all this other stuff, and I'm saying, give me one. And I asked the girl or the guy that works there, and they say, oh, this is the one everybody buys. They don't know. What do they know? They're an hourly employee that works there. Maybe I'm being too harsh. So we're assuming that there are bad actors trying to take advantage of this rush, this gold rush.
Yeah.
At the same time, there may be people who innocently, I don't know about the case you just mentioned, but they may not know. They think they're really buying from good suppliers. They think they're doing everything right. And then you come back and say, you got this problem here. Let's see if we can find the chain, that we can figure out where this is coming from and how to help you eliminate this, because you didn't think this was there. That must
That's
happen
right.
too.
That's right. The brand might not know, and that's often what happens, right? You source your product, you source from
I believe them. They told me it's
a trusted source for the past several years. They've always been good. I trust what they say, and then whoops, we come in and we discover something.
And
That's
think of
why
the
we give
PR
them a
nightmare if
chance.
that comes out that your product is got some heavy metal, some pesticide, some problem in it, some pollutant in it, and all of a sudden, boy, you're trying to get to market, and that gets out in the press or in the internet world that spreads so quickly. Here, somebody says it on this or something, or the opposite. We live in a world of, oh my goodness, rumors run rampant. And so there's a rumor that my product suddenly is bad because somebody put it up on some site and it got picked up 1 million times here for whatever reason. They were wrong or they were mad at me or something. How can I defend myself? How can I prove otherwise that this is not true?
Well, first of all, it's not like we're going to publicly shame.
No, but I'm saying the opposite. So if I could go back and this internet rumor spreading the Paul's product is no good, And I can come back and say, look, I've had it tested. And in fact, I've had it independently verified by an independent group.
Yes, that too.
Right.
Yes, that works. And also double testing, right? You can always have a double testing happening.
Clearly.
Two different labs that test, they compare the results. So that's where I would, handle.
Because rumors can kill a
like
product,
that.
particularly an emerging product here. And if that rumor starts spreading that I'm not what I say I am, yes, there are some trying to get away and scam the public, and there are some that may be honestly trying to do and have integrity and trying to do what they say they do, but they don't know the chain of supply, as you say. So, or even worse, they're doing exactly what they say they do, but somebody says they aren't, and the rumor spreads, and they have no way to defend themselves online. Except by
the
saying,
bottom line I want to add is that, for $600 to know if your product is good or bad, I think it's a very, very worth it investment.
I'd say it's a ridiculously low investment.
It's not going to break your bank anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
For companies that want to make millions, that want to grow into billions, that seems like a pittance to throw away to prove to yourself, to prove to your customers, and to separate yourself from the pack who otherwise, I don't want anybody looking too close at what I'm doing here. Don't look at this. Look over here. It's a shell game. Don't look over here. Look over here. I think it's remarkable that you can do it that inexpensively. Do you have a staff? Do you have a team? How do you do
well,
this?
we certify partners, so that's the easiest way to do it, right? Obviously, we review ourselves the results and the paperwork and everything, but the testing is done, like I said, in labs that are compliant and certified by enforcement such as DEA or the Cannabis Bureau of California, and that have gone through intense auditing.
I didn't even know there was such a thing. All right, so we talked about two of the three potential problems. One is that the product's not even there. They say it's there, but there's nothing there. There's no there. And then the second is, well, it's there, but there's a bunch of other stuff you may not want in there. Pesticides, heavy metals, other contaminants, mold, et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about the third one, overdosing. I saw this a lot in the nutraceutical things that we did, where people think I'm getting this many milligrams and you're getting this many milligrams.
That's right. Or the reverse. You think you're getting 100 milligrams and you're getting 50, right? So how do you dose yourself if you don't even know if the dosage that's written on it is right?
And I've heard people that overdose. Not the one of the beauties of cannabis, I'm told over and over again, is even if you do overdoses, you don't die. You just feel really sick, or you may not feel good or whatever. But you're not. Nobody has died from an overdose of CBD or even marijuana.
CBD, especially CBD, no. It's just hard for your liver. It's very hard for your liver, and that's what like if you have too much CBD and you take medications, you have to. There's a lot of things that we need to be careful when we introduce, whether it's supplements or whether it is CBD. You still need to think of, how it interacts with other medication. It's not that it's going to cancel your other medication. It's just that it all goes through the liver. And if it all goes through the liver, you need to make sure that, and the liver has a certain quantity of things that it can process. And so if you take your CBD and you take your Coumadin, or you take all of these all at the same time, but something's going to give. So you've got to also know that. And these are the things that freak out doctors a little bit when they see that, patients come in with their bottle of CBD, or their topical is not, as difficult, just because it's very local. When it comes to ingesting it, that's another story.
And doctors have amended. Several years ago, when I went in to see a physician, any kind of physician, my family physician or a specialist, they would ask me what medications you're on. Now they're starting to say, well, what else do you take? Because they're recognizing I may be self-dosing myself with other plant-based products that I'm purchasing at Mother's or CVS or whatever. It might be CBD, it might be other things. I know there was, I don't want to start a rumor again or whatever, because I don't know the specifics, but it wasn't St. John's wort for a while. There were some worries about that it was interacting with other things. People were taking it to, I forgot what effect St. John's wort, this herb does. But there have been
I don't remember, no.
well, there are different herbs that various times people take for anxiety or for depression or for other things. And
Yeah.
and again, nobody really analyzes how much is in these things, so you don't know how much you're dosing yourself. And then they don't know what happens when you take that high dosage and mix it with other pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that's right.
Because
And we want the doctors to be able to say, I can't recommend that you take CBD because they're not allowed to recommend that. But I can say that if you're buying it, at least, make me feel good that it carries the brand of the physician trusted quality, because then I know that a third party that is very credible and independent has verified this.
How have doctors responded to this? Because I wonder, and that's a bigger question, just your counsel. I wonder how doctors are responding to this whole wave of medicating myself with alternative herbs and plant-based things, nutraceuticals, herbs, CBD. The world is, my wife has a cabinet full of this stuff now here, and I sometimes wonder if her doctor goes, oh, throw that stuff away. I either don't like it, I don't know anything about it, it threatens my existence because you're not going to come and see me for the inflammation. You're going to go try and deal with it yourself. I don't know. Agnes, talk about that. You guys are, I know Elaine's not a doctor. She has a more of a business background. You're involved in healthcare.
I'm in healthcare, yes.
How do healthcare people feel about this new wave of treating myself here?
So that's why, you see, this is how exactly I met Dr. Trinh. We met from this health talk that he hosted at my senior care facility. And then, so that was back in 2015, sometime around there. The hemp industry was booming. Everybody was asking about these cannabis products. If any of them would do good to the health. And personally, I actually suffer from, rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, okay.
So I was also looking into these anti-inflammation products. And then that's why, when Dr. Trinh started this health talk at my facility, by the way, just want to share with you guys about the news that, my license finally just got approved by the state of California.
Hallelujah.
So we are able to provide all this, community-based service for all the older adults.
Okay.
I try to avoid the senior.
And where? Yeah, don't say senior. And where are your facilities at? These are what?
So my background picture is basically this senior building that I actually facilitate all the seniors to come to my building, and then we will provide all these medical components of the care. So basically, senior will come into our day program, and then we will start doing this individualized plan care. So basically, they come in, we sit with them, we ask them to set the needs and goals, and then we ask them what exactly their expectation for them to come to our center. We will serve them breakfast and lunch, and then, they will come in if they have any pain, if they have any medical health condition. We have the nurse on site, and we have the PT, physical therapist, and then occupational therapist. If they ended up having the swollen or language issues, then we have the speech therapist to come in and to care for them. So, so we kind of provide this managed care for the clients, who wants to get better, get healthier. And then,
But this isn't these aren't people who are this isn't assisted living. This is
not assisted living.
Right.
This is actually a very good concept to keep the seniors at home while they can come to this community to mingle with their friends.
Right.
And then, it is all actually government funded program. So these clients would come to the center, and then everything that we care when it comes to medical, it's just, it's all covered by their, HMO, the insurance of the Orange County. So, in Orange County, it's, Cal Optima.
Right.
And then, so we will come up with the care plan, depends on their medical condition. And sometimes if they need a restricted diet, then we will have the dietitian to come out with the menu.
It's a place they can go, but it's a daycare. It's a not daycare. It's a day center.
It's a day program.
Yeah,
it's a day program.
Right.
They will come in. The program hour is only 4 hours a day, and at the end of the day, they get home. And then our center will actually also provide the transportation.
Wow.
So it's really convenient. And by the time they get home, they're pretty much already done whatever they need to do. So, including...
And in a world where more and more seniors are living alone, they've lost a spouse or divorce or whatever, their kids are far away, or they don't have kids, or their kids can't handle it or don't want to deal with it. More and more people, we've talked about this many times in the show, there's a huge population of aging folks like me, as they get older, are doing it alone, on their own, without any guidance or help. And they want to be independent.
No longer alone.
I'm not going into a facility. I can't afford a facility. I don't want to go there. So I'm going to stay home and struggle and do this myself. And it would be nice to get some interaction, to get some guidance, to get some help. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why, we will check with you about your need and goal, what exactly you want to achieve when you come here for these 4 hours of the day. And then, of course, the meals are provided. If you want to go with a restricted diet, you want to get healthy, and then you have the diabetic issues, and then, you cannot really get, any sugar, then, we would take into the consideration of your meal plan. And then also, if you want to get better, you want to lose weight, and you want to reduce your blood pressure, and we have the nurse to come up with a care plan, what exactly the exercise you need to do. And then we also have the PT help you to move a little bit faster.
Right.
Like a lot of clients, especially, the elder adults, they are not able to climb stairs. So we have the PT, we have the, occupational therapist to help you.
So what time can I come in? I've got all these problems and pains here. I need to be there.
Our program hours is 8:30 all the way to 1:30.
And you have one facility or multiple facilities?
We have, so far we have only one, but you know what, after this, but you know what? Hey, Bob, I'm telling you, we have 180 capacity.
Wow.
So you know what? It's going to be more than enough for people around the area to come into our center.
And where are you at? Where are you at? What city?
In city of Tustin.
In Tustin. Okay. That's where my daughter and son-in-law live. All right.
It's a central location that's close to Irvine and, all the beaches.
And we might as well finish the plug here. What's the name of it if people want to go find that?
It's a Americana Senior Care. So, for the adult day program, it's Americana Adult Day Center.
And if they want to know more about the overall today's topics, the Physicians Cannabanoid Council, Elaine Blanchette, where do they go to learn more about this?
So they go through the physicianscbdcouncil.com.
Okay.
And CBD being also a contraction of not only the compound, but also it's easier for the name. So physicianscbdcouncil.com. And we have a tab on the website that says the Trusted Seal. It's quite announced. Brands can list their names for their interest to be certified, because we go into the order in which we receive the whitelisting from the brands.
Right.
So if they want to have sort of a position in queue, I would say.
Position in queue. Oh, so you're just listing them as they just, so if I don't want to scroll through the whole line here, as they come in,
but
you're
position
listing
in
them.
queue to be certified, right? So they fill their interest to be certified, and then we assess them one by one. So because we have demand, I would suggest that they whitelist their name, and then they can decide when we contact them whether or not they want to start the process. But they have all the information on the website, and also the checklist of what we will be looking at, so they know. It's quite transparent. Again, transparency is our
That's your brand. There. Transparency and trust. Yeah,
trust, transparency, integrity. It's what we live by.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I just realized, Bob, I forgot. I mean, I got sidetracked. This is always, the problem for me. I ended up becoming so talkative about senior services because, I'm so passionate about it.
I can tell.
Anyway,
I have to come
so
back and do another show on
the main
that.
thing about this show is that, Helene and I, we both are trying to develop the business. I'm specialized for, community outreach. And that was the reason why I ended up meeting a lot of doctors, including Dr. Trinh. And then I'm the one to be the bridge to connect all the seniors to the professional, the health professionals.
Right.
And so, for this CBD, for these physician CBD consults or physician cannabanoid consults, so my job is to trying to help all the brands to reach out to the end user to do this community outreach.
Oh yeah.
So,
that's
and
interesting.
the good thing of this service is that, not only when you get certified, we will help you to reach out to the third party who ended up want to be in alliance with the physician group.
The influencers out there, the people they're asking, is this any good? What do I do with this? Should I look at this? Now there's people on site there, and you're saying these community centers, people are coming in and they got aches and pains and problems and looking for help from all the people you provide. And one of the things they must ask are questions. What about
Exactly.
this?
So that's why, so because I was out there since 2015. So, I ended up meeting a lot of people who are really interested in knowing about the CBD products. And then currently, there is a company that, I don't really have the direct interest with them. But the company, after they learned about the CBD physician consults business or certification program, they are very enthusiastic. They are willing to help all the brands. Once they pass the certification process, they are willing to help this brand to market directly into their 40,000 plus patient base.
Wow. Well, again, because and that went to my other question. We didn't really kind of get there, but are doctors fighting this, or are doctors embracing it, or are they, I suspect, somewhere in the middle saying, I don't know any more than you know.
There's the I don't know.
So a lot of physicians, I believe that they treated the hemp product as alternative medicine.
Right.
It's sort of like, it's not the Western medicine, but, it's alternative way for people to get better.
It's acupuncture.
However,
it's something else.
You have to consume it, or you have to take it according to the proper direction.
Right. And how can I tell you if I don't know myself? So if there's some intermediary, another group of doctors that I trust, and they say they've looked into this and evaluated it, then wouldn't I, as a healthcare provider, say, well, I don't know much about this, but if you're going to do it this way. Make sure you're getting what you think you got. Make sure you're not getting something else bad along the way, and make sure you really understand how to dose this, because you know what's really in each dose.
Yeah.
That's why, so we would love to encourage all the end users, like, whoever, the older adults or, whoever needs to get more information about the hemp or CBD products should come in to first of all, consult the doctors of theirs, or they can join us for this health talk. Dr. Trinh is always very actively going out to the community.
He's been a leader in that. One of the few doctors that said, I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to look into this because my clients are coming and asking me about this, and they're looking for alternatives because I don't have anything other than a pain pill to offer them right now here. And we've all been overdosed and oversubscribed to opioids and other pain pills. Maybe we need to find a way to reduce the inflammation and deal with the core problem, not just cover it up.
And personally speaking, I'm the end user for the CBD products because,
she's one of those now. She's outed herself. She's a CBD user, one of those.
Me too.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
And my
So
wife,
that's why-
oh my goodness, my wife is one. I was horrified. We don't tell the neighbors. We have CBD in the house here.
Oh, come on, Paul.
No, I'm just kidding. But
CBD products, you should feel no shame to using it.
No.
Because okay. So
I'm an old hippie. I got no problem using any of this stuff here, but I'm just shocked at the people who do.
Physicians or a lot of like my PT, like they've been using the CBD products on their own patients.
Yeah.
So some of the physical therapists, they even have their own brand to sell to their patients.
I see the most
pricey.
conservative people in the world, John Boehner, the former Speaker of the House, is involved in some CBD company or cannabis company. I see people come through all the time in our business studio, very serious conservative types, and suddenly all these people that preached against and created all this hysteria about marijuana and everything else, and threw hemp under the bus because it had some connection somehow. It was in the same plant family. All that seems gone. I don't see anybody walking around.
Now, right?
Yeah, that whole stigma has just been taken away because older people like me, us aging baby boomers, are not getting any younger. We're getting more aches and pains, and we go to a regular doctor and they go, I got nothing for that. They
cannot do anything. So Bob, this is the thing. I have these issues, like, I have this rheumatoid arthritis. Imagine, I mean, even though I about to get to that, senior's age, but again, you know what? The Tylenols and all these, like, painkillers, they can only do so much for you.
Right.
In the long run, what are you gonna relying on? So you know what? That's why why we all looking for this alternative medicine.
Absolutely.
And thank God, like we have this farm bill just passed recently. However, what the government didn't do is that they did not regulate all the products. So as a consumer, if you are smart, you're gonna do a lot of research and study just to see if the brands or the products like you buy is exactly what you claim. So I have done a lot of try and errors just to find out what
error is the key word there. A lot of trial and error.
And I spent a lot of money to finally find a brand that finally worked for me. And guess what? The one time it works, the second time it might not work, because you know what? Maybe it's from the different batch of the products.
Right.
So it's just like I ended up getting all these I wouldn't say consistent result from just the same brand. So that's why
it's an inconsistent world. Well, I got to consistently cut you off because we're at the end here, but I appreciate what you guys are doing. I think it's welcome. I suspect the consumers will embrace it. I suspect even the doctors will embrace it because it gives them something to evaluate, something to standard. If people come and ask me, at least do this. And it will openly separate the wheat from the chaff, the good from the bad. And we'll start to get some, because that's the fear of this industry, all these emerging industries, is that they're going to be scandals, there's going to be problems, there's going to be disappointments, and people are going to say, oh, I tried that didn't do anything. Oh, it just, and it's all because nobody wants the heavy hand of government to come back in this, particularly in libertarian California and Southern California here. But at the same time, I don't want to be the Wild West where I don't know what I'm getting. Buyer beware.
No, exactly.
So I got to have I'm looking for some independent third party to evaluate this that I trust. That's you guys. I welcome you coming on, and I welcome to hear more as you roll this out and we find out as this thing becomes generally known, the problem becomes known, the solution becomes known, the companies embrace it, the doctors embrace it, the public embraces it. I think this will really start rolling along rather quickly.
Yes. We want to make sure that all the end user ended up making the easy breezy decision with us.
Easy breezy. That's what you should put on your package. Easy breezy here.
We don't sell product.
That's right. Yes. And next time we'll have to tell you that my name is not Bob, it's Paul, but it's Robert. So she keeps saying Bob like Rob. But that's okay. I'll put that disclaimer on the show here. That'll be we'll get a name verification here, but that's all right.
I'm so sorry, Paul. This is the first time we met. You see? I could have just gone with life. And
everybody goes to Rob and Roberts, and they start calling me Rob and Bob, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's a name in front of it.
Sorry, Paul.
That's all right.
Yes, Paul. I'm so sorry.
Just like we all struggle to say Elaine Blanche. I still, all these years I've known her, it's really more like Ellen.
You're getting better at it.
It's almost more like Ellen, but I want to put a little flair to it. Elaine, Elan.
And so, Paul, that's giving you the excuse to get us on for the second time. So you can get our name right.
I got to keep practicing, and we'll get everybody's thing right. But that's what it is. It's right. It's getting it right, and that's where we're trying to get to on all this stuff. If we're going to do this, let's get it right.
Good way to conclude this.
All right. Yes. Thanks so much for coming on here.
Thank you, Paul.
And
thank you.
Nice having us. Thank you.
Yep. And Dr. Trinh will be there next week.
He'll be back next week. I think he's going to talk about his trip to Vietnam. So be sure and join us for that one as we continue to hold these health talks right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio. Streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.